like that song, and you can tell things are about to get very intense. Welcome back to another chapter of the Mikado Saga. Last time, Ayame has actually failed to get the Dragon Ball because, while it was in Dominique's possession, Doragon beat her to the punch. And literally so, since he gave a sucker punch to Wong, Master Wong, which is like Doragon and Sion's master, as well as Sion himself, and the bouncers were actually separated and got captured by Mikado. So Ayame had to bail out of Mikado and head straight to Mount Pizo, where she recruited the help with the Z Fighters, particularly Goten and Trunks. And Bulma was actually alarmed by this, but Goku was very confident in what they can do, since because of his experience when he was their age when he dealt with the Red Ribbon Army and Emperor Pilaf, which is similar to Rice. Gohan, what the heck. Alright, let's get this started. And this is one of my favorite parts, not only in the story, but also in the game as well. You would see why. This is when the Dragon Team find the main trio. Will he still be alive after the devastating defeat by Doragon? Or will it be too late to save them and Dominique from his evil hands? Stand by as the first part features Ayame with Sion's unknown fate. The messages about the A2 project were from the actual game. They weren't made up. I'll give Square Enix credit for all the information received here in Dream Factory. Very interesting stuff. Well done. Okay, let's get this going. Good luck, Dragon Team. I wish I could get that intro theme. Chapter 4, Z Fighters to the Rescue, Part 1. After a brief lunch in Dog Street Central Hall, the three young Z Fighters headed to Mikado. Along the way, they passed a few familiar landmarks aside from the massive fountain, still intact. First were the tall buildings. Hey, Ayame! How much further? Still couldn't wait to rip Doragon a new one. We're almost there, Trunks. Hang tight. We're passing over the town of Edge right now. This is where the Dragon Ball was before Dominique was abducted. Scenery was so different during the daytime, and the roads were very much more busier. Dang scrolls. They were much more busier this time around. She was very lucky the Nimbus hovered over Edge quickly. She still has some unease due to its huge crime rate. Then they saw the long tunnel which seemed to have stretched for miles. Ayame described the situation as they went. The Saiyan boys were enthralled of their journey. Finally, they wound up at Mikado as they gazed upon the tower. There it is, you guys. Mikado. They could instantly tell it was trouble because of the massive power levels there. One of them, who had the most ominous, was of course Doragon's. I could sense the energy here. It's so heavy. Yeah, I could definitely feel it too. Ayame told the Nimbus to go slow and make sure they're undetected. Everyone kept their power levels low, so hopefully they'll avoid being spotted on. They also needed to conserve their energy. The cloud circled the base of the tower until it halted beside a vent? At first, Ayame became skeptical, but then she realized it was a good idea. She easily lifted off the covering, and she faced the duo. Alright, guys, this is it. Somewhere in there is Doragon, or hopefully Dominique and the others. She still doesn't fully understand what the Gallios was. We're ready. Here are what the people look like. Thanks to some of the kind citizens in Dog Street, particularly a worried boss, from what you saw in the prologue behind the counter, he gave her some pictures of the quartet. He hopes they'll be found and brought back safely from the corrupt company. Even he undoubtedly hates it. Let's get going, you two, and make sure you keep your power levels low. Unless if it's an absolute emergency. If we see Doragon, that is. She went in first and started crawling in. Then came Trunks and Goten. The trio had 10 senzu beans to start out with before they made the trip. They felt that only she and the main trio would be the only ones who will need them. Soon he wound up with its trilemma. 3 paths were ahead of him. One led straight, the other made a diagonal left, and the last one made a diagonal right. They could hardly sense anyone, not even the men or Dominique. Ayame grew nervous. We got a problem. We have 3 paths to take, and we can't trace their energy. Plus, only one should hold the radar. No prob. We'll just each take a separate path and expect the unexpected. I'm sure we'll find them. But Trunks, we won't be able to find the Dragon Ball. It's okay. Ayame will hold the locator while we look for the bouncers. They'll lead us to Dominique if we find her. She still has it, I'm sure. Good plan, Trunks. I'll take the middle. I call left. Okay, I got right. Let's move, guys. And good luck to both of you. She gave him a few senzu beans and she was still holding the 4-star ball in her pocket. May luck be on our side, and may victory be ours. They went their separate ways. Slowly and quietly, Ayame crawled through the vents, hoping she won't make any sounds within the ceiling. As she passed each vent, she looked carefully and scanned for any traces of the bouncers or Dominique's energy, just as she would like a dog capturing a distinctive scent. She remembered it was difficult to muster, but with some vigorous training and luck, she eventually obtained that ability. All she has to do is remember what the person looked like, and because she had the chance to meet them, it was so much better. She continued to trek through, her hopes beginning to dwindle. It's going to take forever finding the Dragon Ball or any of the others. I'm not sure if I'll ever find them, let alone Goten and Trunks. To her surprise, there was Sion! At the corner of her eyes, she recognized the person through the vent. His head was dropped, and the eyes were closed. Ayame was worried that he may not be alive, not after what she saw from Duragon. And you will see the cutscene here. Give me a minute, guys. Hopefully the footage won't be so damn choppy. And believe it or not, that's it. They always skip cutscenes. Hate that. Sion was alive. Apparently he didn't perish after all. However, yeah, they were separated. Second, covering blah. Large glass window overlooking garden was on the other side. Ayame immediately followed him through the vents. The enemies never even noticed her. She was blessed that there were no security cameras watching her and them. He fought them off very easily, barely breaking a sweat. Seconds after the cops fell, a mook emerged. And this is what you would see here.
Where's Dominique? Is this job really worth your life?
And from there, you would actually get like numerous paths. So you gotta choose wisely. Ayame would use the Dragon Ball locator, but she also wanted to make sure Sion was safe too. After all, it was far too risky dealing with the task at hand on her own. He emerged in a room to what looked like an office, complete with cubicles, PCs, and desks. The door was to the left of the last one, in which he emerged into a narrow corridor, followed it to the massive door to his left, which took him to a spacious area with couches at the side. Then he took 2 entrances straight ahead. A large wooden table was smack dab in the middle of the conference area. There was one cop in a black jacket labeled security in bold yellow letters. He approached him along with an orange robot with a searchlight on its head. Ayame could have sworn it looked like a trash can on wheels. He fought them with ease. As a result, the wooden table splintered when the guard landed on it. From the corner in another hall he ran into an ambush. Another ninja was waiting for him, and 3 more came out from separate rooms. He had no choice but to fight them. For some odd reason, even without his allies, they seemed like a walk in the park, despite the few times when he was knocked down. He noticed a skinnier tan door and he ventured in it. There was a dark room with indigo walls, and he ran up the stairs to the next hallway. Ayame wasn't sure how much longer Sion could hold out, and she needed to hustle if she has to keep up with him. She just kept following him through the vents, and as she moved faster, she didn't care if she made some noise. He went to the massive door to the right of it, which took him to the computer room. The walls were dark, but at least the gates and the inactive monitors gave him some light. Once he reached the door adjacent from the one he went in, he was in the middle of another ambush. There were 6 enemies now, 4 rent-a-cops and 2 of those trash robots. It seemed it was almost too much for him. The officers actually ganged up on him, and they just held him tightly while the rest of them punched him square in the stomach, which didn't fully heal yet. The robots were still waiting at each side of the door up ahead. Watching their fury from a vent, Ayame hardly stood the horror. The minions just kept beating him nearly half to death. All right, that's it! She kicked the cover out with all her strength and immediately jumped out of her hiding place to the center. She didn't care about cameras now. Her friend's life was at stake. Everyone gazed at her speechless, including Sion. She gathered her energy within her body as she fixed her own eyes on them. Stop it! Let Sion go! She clenched her fists very tightly, knuckles growing red. The sentinels stormed toward her, but she disappeared as she moved so fast their eyes can't keep up. Then she emerged and hit the officer behind the head. He went down in a heap, and so did the street fighter. He was still stunned as he watched Ayame use her melee weapon, the power pole. She extended it to the ceiling and spun and kicked one. It returned to its normal size, and the 2 awaiting robots charged in. She whacked the pole on them, and they were deactivated with a few hits. One tried to ram her over, but she vanished again. As she stood next to Sion, he was still injured. She made a stance. She brought her leg back, 2 hands stuck to her side, and she formed a ball. I'm sure you already know what this is. Kame! The enemies ran close to them. Ha-me! Then she released a wave as she thrust her hands forward. The attack sent them back toward the wall and exploded on contact. Sion couldn't believe this spectacle. As the smoke cleared, she saw them dead in the corner. Ayame took a couple deep breaths and forgot where Sion was. She frantically looked behind her until she found him to the right. She knelt down and took a senzu bean from her left pocket. Here, eat this. You'll feel better. It's a senzu bean. It can help you restore your lost strength. Took it from her, and almost instantly he felt his body starting to heal. He was very rejuvenated as he slowly stood and looked at himself. He was so surprised at how fast he recovered. He never experienced anything like it. Facing her with appreciation, thanks, Ayame. Never had anything like this before. What was it? It's a bean made by Korin. He's an old friend. They're known to be very rare and have many healing properties. They say its texture is a mix between a cornstalk and an uncooked bean. I see, he murmured with a strange taste. Then his eyes became wide. Ayame, what was that technique you used? Glad you asked. It's called the Kamehameha wave. It's a beam of energy which is said to be used from your ki. In other words, latent energy that's been stored in your body. You know how to control your ki? Not many people can do that. Not even me or my master. He sulked a little, remembering his mentor. Still, I'm very impressed, but you never told me about your power pole. She said it was passed down to her best friend Goku from his grandfather Gohan. He died ages ago, but she was only able to meet his son by the same name. Same thing with the Nimbus, as it was given to Goku by Master Roshi. Then again, she never liked him. Neither do I. That would explain how you followed us? Exactly. It was finally making sense. He grew more fascinated with Ayame. We can find Dominique easily thanks to the Dragon Ball locator. She took it out, turned up the settings. It's up ahead, just a few yards. Alright, let's go. Sion was determined to find the mystical orb and the girl. He led the way and Ayame was close behind as they followed the signal. On the other side of the hall, there was signs saying keep out, and you can actually see this cutscene here. So, yeah. Come on, internet.
Hey, you're that. Huh?
And you'll get to that other cutscene eventually. But yeah, they were in so much doubt. What? Why isn't she attacking us? Before Sion asked her, she just ran and disappeared as she headed to the door ahead. It led to an active monitor. Sion examined it and the screen had a bunch of headers, which actually you have seen here. It only lasts a couple seconds. Now, normally, if you would actually play the game, you would actually see the map of that monitor. So, one was labeled Project A2 in the top left. The map was showing layers of a strange model. As you scrolled through the layers, there was a different topic. In the top right corner, the screen said Mikado Group. Clearly, this was all confidential information they were about to receive. He started from the top and worked his way down, starting with Project M Special Forces. A project modifying the subject through lobotomy surgery. The nervous system has been enhanced to assist in the completion of assigned missions. However, the simulation of the fighting instincts tends to cause the subject's mind to degrade. Presently, the subject has been assigned as the leader of the Special Forces unit. To the right were a few screenshots of the masked figure who abducted Dominique. His name was Migetsu. It became very clear considering he was the head of Mikado's Special Forces, as Volt kept pointing out earlier. That's him! That's the guy! Even Sion was astounded and at the same time angered. Without saying a word, he moved to the next topic. Special Forces Mass Production Type G1. The pre-production version of the mass-produced M-Type. They obey their orders accurately, even while using relatively simple and short commands. The primary feature of the G1 is that it utilizes the same system as the M-Type. Testing shows that this unit exhibits almost the same results in the right environment as the M-Type. Presently, these units are assigned as elite members to the Special Forces unit. The person labeled MSF Elite was very recognizable. They were indeed the fastest and the most flexible they'd ever faced. Ayame could have sworn they were almost like zombies. Sion scrolled down to the next one. Special Forces Mass Production Type G2. The Type G2 is a lower type quality model of the G1. These units are the most economical version in the G series. Presently, these units are assigned to the Special Forces unit. It was easy to see as the person was named MSF, and they seemed a bit more inferior in terms of their fighting style and stamina. He descended to the next topic. Mechanical Electrical Engineering Version 2. Mikado Corporation's original service machine, easily manufactured. Mikado Corporation's original service machine, easily manufactured and possessing a high degree of flexibility. It is one of the many popular products that Mikado produces. This unit is the flagship model for the Mikado Corporation. We intend to develop future machines based on the present popularity and potential of our current machines. A white robot with scrawny limbs. It was labeled MC07. He moved to the next one, which made Ayame cringe. The PD series. A project that clones a complete human from only a small sample of cells. By converting the internal organs into machinery, the subject's lifespan is extended to almost infinite proportions. Within the PD series, the unit that made the most innovative difference with the new technology is number 4. Once the PD series is completed, the technology will be transferred for use on Project A2. There it was again! What was Project A2? Under the creepy screenshots, the subject was named PD4. Ayame drifted off for a second, remembering Cell and those other lethal androids. The corporation was becoming more and more similar to the Red Ribbon Army by every scary encounter. But the next one was even more sickening. Biological Engineering 1. A biological weapon created through bioexperimentation. The main goal is to rapidly enhance the abilities of the experimental subject. The subject is easy to handle and it responds to simple orders sufficiently. We are in the process of expanding our research into new areas with these results. She recognized them as those Rottweiler watchdogs that the two saw earlier. She was so sensitive after reading this that she even hunched over and held her mouth away from the screen. Hey, you alright? No, I'm not. Why would Mikado do this? Take innocent little puppies and have chemicals inserted in them, making them mutated like monsters. She went into his strong arms. He completely understood the disgust of what Dorgon was doing. He too was a fan of dogs, considering his hometown's unique style and merchandise, as it was clearly seen on his outfit. I know. It is very unforgivable. After a few minutes, she released him. She took a deep breath. Let's get this over with. He went to the screen again and selected Biological Engineering 2, Bionoid Experiment. Portrait to the right had her name Chaldea Orchid, which would trigger a flashback here.
Chaldea? Chaldea? It wasn't an accident. They were experimenting on humans?
I'll let you see the other one later on. But yeah, very shocking. Upon evaluating the unanticipated side effects manifested by the PD series, we intend to broaden our research related to cloning. Our best example of this project is Chaldea. The only drawback with our present technology is the treatment ages the subject cells approximately 10 biological years. Oh man! This was so much to take in. Even Dr. Giraud never did something like that. She can't imagine anyone volunteering for such horrid experiments on animals or humans. And aging 10 years was something that was just beyond belief. Missing a whole free decade in their lives, slaving away in a laboratory. And Sion finally went to the last layer. The familiar pic was to the right, along with an unusual alias, Agalos Anastasis, which you've already seen.
Dominique? What's this A2 project? I need a password? Damn it!
Oh man! Man, he was so close. What the hell? Sion, look behind you! Two moves emerged. One was aiming for Sion's head, however, upon Ayame's warning, he dodged in time. The screen was smashed. Sion took on one, while Ayame took the other using the power pole. Looking back, Ayame was disappointed they won't see the info regarding Dominique involving her in Project D2. Ayame, come on! She immediately followed him. Through the doors, they emerged into a hallway with this cutscene. Ugh. Lousy window. So.
Not again! I'll teach that thing a lesson.
Ugh, lousy internet. Ugh, can't stand it. Can't stand between the switching either. Sion ran to the ravenous wild cat. She was just as vicious as she was when the trio faced Duragon at the dome. Her shiny claws and fangs were pretty lethal. When Sion was taken down, she kept biting him. Ayame intervened and she whacked her with the power pole. She blocked and countered every blow until she was knocked down from a lunge. Then it was his turn to fight her with some trips and a roundhouse kick when she stood on two paws. She was out of commission in a matter of minutes. You alright? I'm fine. Whew. This must be the same panther that's been stalking us. And they saw this cutscene. I can't wait to get done with this.
What the? So now it's human. Who are you?
You don't recognize me, do you?
Huh? What was that all about? Dominique! How's my knight in shining armor?
Oh no! How would Sion get out of this one? Well, we'll find out soon enough. Okay, room was nearly dark. Dominique was on the couch. Just as he was about to wake her up, they were ambushed by Mikado. Ayame was so missed she couldn't detect him. With 6 ninjas surrounding the vulnerable duo and the ringleader in the center, she took out her power pole ready to strike. Okay, part 1 is finished. Next up will be the start of Goten and Trunks chapter. Sion and Ayame were almost successful until the unexpected ambush. Will the Saiyan kid find him alive, or are the bouncers and Dominique's lives still in jeopardy? Find out next time. Until then, this is the Ecron Writer signing out. Stay tuned for part 2.